The idea of the fizzy drinks. I drink a lot of fizzy drinks. My family does. I think you guys do too. But I think it bears a lot of emphasis because we live in a society that really emphasizes sports drinks, juice drinks, alcoholic drinks and stuff to satisfy a physical or exercise, labor and to replenish the body. So the fizzy foods have done that over the centuries, the fizzy drinks.
They have in a very different form than we do today. And I think we've got it in our mind because of marketing. We have to remember who wrote those rules, who told us that those sport drinks were good for us. We really need to, again, think back of who made them and why they made them, and everything in the grocery store was made for shelf life. And this is where the fizzy foods come in for us. This is something that you can make at home. The cost is minimal. Right. But the health benefits increase exponentially when you use lactofermentation or culturing. So tell me how you use them in your home.
Well, we have the lemon fermented punch, and it's just kind of a side drink if the boys are thirsty when they come in from a hot day working outside, then that's a very refreshing. Beet kvass. I love beet kvass. I hate beets. Never did like beets. When I was little, my sister dropped a quart of beets, and I had to clean it off. And I've never liked beets since. But the beet kvass,
ever since.
Yeah, they've tortured me in my dreams. No, but early on, I had read that beet kvass were receiving more positive testimonials for health changes than any other thing that was implemented in the Nourishing Traditions book. So I thought, well, those people are experiencing that kind of change, then that's what I want to do. So that was really the first drink I did, was beet kvass. And unfortunately, my family is really not on board with it, but that hasn't stopped me from making it year after year after year from fresh beets. I find it extremely refreshing. The color of it is gorgeous. I love just sitting around. It's a great decoration while it's fermenting. But I understand too that the electrolytes and the lactic acid and all that stuff is really good for me, and that is also a great digestive aid.
And cleanser.
And cleanser, right.
We lived through the juicing era, and we used to juice beets. And I tell you, it's a lot easier to make beet kvass than it is to make beet juice.
Very true.
And it's something that you can make at one time. I like to make it. I like it to last a year. I really don't like drinking it immediately. So I make a lot of it at one time, and then I put it in a cool spot. I actually bought a refrigerator for the express purpose
of keeping your kvass in it?
Of keeping my kvass in it, yes. And so we have a refrigerator that we keep all of the things that are lacto-fermented that need to be cold. Our basement is not cold. We have a heater in our basement, so we just keep a refrigerator for express purpose. And we have learned that beet kvass is good when you make it, but it's better when you let it do its thing. Yeah, 6 months to a year is my favorite.
And that's a cardinal rule with all the fizzy foods, is that the longer that it ferments and sits, the better tasting it's going to be, and the more nutritious it is.
The thing that I like about fizzy beverages is many times when you start changing your diet, it's all about what you're not going to eat, and you tend to be in the negative. With the fizzy drinks, it was things that we could try, we could experiment with. Not everything we liked, but different things that we tried would add something. And I would put a pretty glass on the table, and I have a lot of girls. Every time you drink something in a pretty glass, it's better. And so we just experimented with a lot of different things, but as with everything else, we've ended up with what grows in our backyard more than anything else, because that's what we have a lot of. And it turns out that those things work out pretty well. You taught me how to make the grape soda, and that's a favorite at our house.
It's a grape soda made with just whey and salt. Do you put the whey in it?
I do.
Aha.
I do.
I have converted her.
It's not something that I like in vegetables, but it is something that I like in the drinks.
It's almost as fine a concoction as fine grape wine. That's how good it is. When my older girls were little girls, I read to them from the Laura Ingalls Wilder series, and I read all of those books. And if you'd like to get a good grasp of what traditional foods were in early America, that's a good place to start. I didn't think of that while I was reading it because I didn't even know what traditional foods were at the time. However, every time I learned something new about traditional foods, I would remember what was said in some of those books. A really good one to go to is Farmer Boy, because they talk in that about all the food that's served at one meal, and it's amazingly various. They constantly praise their ma for being such a great cook. But regarding the fizzy drinks, there is a quote in here from The Long Winter, and I'd like to share that with you. Ma had sent them ginger water. They were all out doing hay. Ma had sent them ginger water. She had sweetened the cool well water with sugar, flavored it with vinegar, and put in plenty of ginger to warm their stomachs so they could drink till they were not thirsty. Ginger water would not make them sick, as plain cold water would when they were so hot. So here they just intentionally made a water, a fizzy drink concoction that satisfied them more than cold water would have.
Not just satisfied. I mean, in that
But replenished.
quote, the water would make them sick. There's times when water is not the answer, which I find amazing because every time you turn around, every time you read a magazine or hear anything, we have to have water, water, water. Water is not always the answer. When you're in a situation like that where you need replenishing, water may or may not go down. And she found a way to put in electrolytes. And that's what we have with fizzy foods.
Right, right.